This is a homemade broadcast radio production.
Whether your radio dial is set to music or news or talk, each could be offensive.
But when it comes to making waves on the air, dicey language and spicy topics are turning up all over the dial. If you're not a regular to this type of radio, here's a word of caution. You may find it explicit. You decide if Tampa Bay radio is blaring out airwaves or shockwaves. Turn on your radio and find wholesome family entertainment. Turn on your radio today and make your mother blush. Almost nothing is sacred these days when it comes to radio, except not losing the station's license. Radio personalities are pushing all the limits. You may find the language in this story explicit, but the Federal Communications Commission has never fined a Tampa Bay radio station. You be the judge. Are they airwaves or shockwaves?
I don't agree with all of it, but it's very popular.
Personnel, this is CVTS. Space vehicle pre-count operations will start on my mark at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the homemade broadcast. It is episode 500, believe it or not. 500 episodes of this program. My name's Will Kuntz. This is Ada Hummel here.
Hello.
Those locations.
Yes. Can you hear me? I can't hear myself.
It kind of sounds weird. There is some tinginess coming back on your end from the microphone. I thought it was my headphones, so I changed them out at the last second. I was trying to be lazy and not use my studio headphones, not take them out of the bag. Now I can't hear you at all.
What about there?
It's when you talk, it's like a little feedback.
Do you want me to just take the mic out? I don't know what to do.
I guess so. I don't know. 813-693-2124 is the way if you want to get a hold of the program. That's a text or a voicemail line that you can do. The homemade broadcast at gmail.com. hmbradio.com is the website. We're streaming live right now on YouTube and maybe Rumble. I don't know. I hope so. And Twitter and Facebook, HMB Radio over there. So that's good if you can do that and join us and share it. Anna's getting her mic set up here. In the meantime, she seems not to know what's going on. Go to your settings, Anna. Your settings. It's not working. Not working. Can't hear you at all. We'll get it figured out. Oh, there we go. I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It still sounds weird, kind of, but that's okay. We'll push through. No worries. You can hear yourself, yes?
Yeah.
You can. Okay.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. I know there was plans of doing a live 500th episode, maybe for 1,000. We'll see how that goes if we get that far. I couldn't make anything happen. And to be honest, I didn't really try. But anyway, thanks for joining us for 500. Now, you've been a part of, I would say, the past 100 and 150 or so. So, I mean, you've been here for a long time now.
3.5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It all started when I got fired from the Cox and decided to do a live episode about it. And then we just kept doing it, which is great because you don't really see that sort of commitment from anything and anyone anymore. So,
no, that's so true. That's so true. Well, I'm happy to have you. I got to say, your audio is poo poo.
All right, hold on. Hang tight for a second.
Why don't you try just restarting, come back? I'll hold it down for a little bit, maybe restart and see what happens.
Well, again, it's also because I am in this BRN right now because I couldn't take it home. There's a lot going on today. I'm really sorry. I brought all my stuff with me, as you can see. But I am gonna try to connect the mic. It should have been working. I don't understand why wouldn't. It could also just be that I'm kind of trying to whisper. So
okay.
Let me try to connect again. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay, we'll do that in the meantime. Well, folks, welcome. You know, sometimes these live programs, things happen on the fly. Last night, the Johnny B show, we did a Halloween extravaganza last night, And just before we were about to go on, Johnny texted me because he had a whole haunted house thing going on and he wanted to stay home and give out candy for the kids and all that stuff. And I said, yeah, no problem. We have this modern technology that allows us to, do a show from home if we need to. So that's what he did. He signed on, and it's really easy now. You used to have to do, I remember back in the day, they had these big vans that would come, and then you had to put the antenna up, and there was, all this equipment, hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment. And now you can do it with a $14 program that you download, which is pretty crazy. And you can just do it from your, little board that I have here. I have a Roadcaster here at home, and plugs right in through the internet. And it's truly amazing. So he went to go sign on, and it had been a while since he had done it from home. And he texted me as the intro was playing, and he said, yeah, it's not working. So that does have.
Ooh. How does that sound?
It sounds pretty good. I'm wondering if it's potentially my headphones that I'm hearing just a little electric static type of thing. Are you hearing that at all on your end?
No.
Okay, so it might just be my headphones. Maybe everything's fine. I don't know. Maybe people can tell us in the comments if they hear anything weird. But yeah, so last night he had to reinstall, and I had to do the show for the first few minutes by myself. But that's what happens. And with live programs, you can't always help that stuff. And Anna, I wanted to ask you. Now, I know that we did share a workspace in a studio at the Bone at one point, and that's a shared space. Now you're kind of in a different situation. I believe you have your own microphone that you work with, and it's just yours, right?
Yes. You mean this one, or you mean this one?
Well, both, I would reckon. Like that one that you use that I bought you is just for this one, and then you have your own mic at the at your station there.
Yes.
And nobody else uses it.
I mean, if anybody does sit here, we just change the mic condom. Okay. But typically not. But this is my mic. Like the actual mic is mine. It was gifted to me. Dr. Dan, who works on the show, was in hot water for something at some point, and decided that he was going to buy everyone a brand new mic to make things better. So,
wow, that's a nice. So if something were to happen, you get to take that thing with you?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Just your station. I got you. So obviously my situation's a little different. I have many programs that roll through. Different people use the mics, and they're gross. They are gross. And yesterday I experienced something that I'd never experienced before. And I know that you're not on social media anymore, so I'm just going to show you what I saw. We know you wipe them down. Everybody understands you're going to be breathing. You're going to be spittling. Like things are going to happen. Now, the Seat 1 mic has had a lot of years of abuse. There's always somebody sitting there. So there's not always everybody sitting. 2 has a lot of action as well. But 3, 4, 5, a lot of those aren't used as often. Those are pretty clean. They look good. But mic 1 is particularly gross looking. And I had this little accoutrement as I went into into work last night. Started to wipe down the area as I always do with a Lysol wipe. And then I saw this. Let me pull it up here. There we go. Are you able to see that?
I am. That looks foul.
It looks to me, as I believe it's pretty evident and pretty clear, that is some sort of deep from within somebody's lung spittle, unless it's something else from downstairs. But I don't think so. I think it's more likely that it belongs to it's phlegm. It's a loogie of some kind. And as I walked in and started cleaning the area, I did notice that last night, which has left me disturbed for, we're going on close to 15, 16 hours now, and I haven't been able to shake it yet. And
that's pretty disturbing. And you walked in and it looked like that?
Walked in, it looked like that, and I had to clean it. I had no choice. The options were to disconnect that microphone and try to grab one from another seat and hook it up there at one, but then you run the risk of, engineering getting mad at you, and, you shouldn't be messing around with this stuff. You don't know
right.
Blah, blah, blah. Which is partially true. And maybe they wouldn't have cared, but I didn't want to take the take the risk, you know? So I just did what I could do at that point. Now, this is as you can see, I mean, it's pretty grody there as it is. I mean, I think the real standout and the star of the show is the big loogie right here.
Yeah, front and center. That's
yeah,
that's disgusting.
it's right where somebody would be talking. It looks like it probably bounced off somebody's bottom lip and then ended up right on that micro. Now, that's a big piece of loogie there.
That looks fresh too. Like that was just there.
Definitely.
That doesn't look like it's been sitting there all too long.
When I wiped it away, it was very gooey, and it kind of did this stretch as I wiped it up off of there. Yeah. Stretched out, and I had to give it a few wipes, do another Lysol wipe. Thank God we had plenty of Lysol wipes in there, and I just really soaked it, which is probably not good for the equipment. It's not good for anything electronic. However, there was no choice at that point. I had to do what I had to do. The question is, I need to know if this was intentional or not.
Probably not. I hope so. I hope it's not, I mean.
But how would you not know that this came out of your body? I feel like this is big enough that you're going to feel it. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, one would hope. Certainly one would hope.
How oblivious to life would you be if you
I don't know. You'd probably have to be a cat named Mo.
Well, that's my number one suspect. Mo is the show before the Johnny B show. He does sit in seat 1. The other options are Drew and Carmen or Monica. So it's Carmen sits there now in the mornings. Then you got Monica for Roger and JP. You got Drew, and then you got Mo, and then you got Johnny, who happened not to be there that night, but it was already there when I walked in. So it was one of those 4. My money, if I was a betting man, which I am, and I would put my whole net worth on this was Mo.
Yeah. It's almost a guarantee.
I have to know if it was intentional. I thought we were kind of cool, but I'm off the Mo train because of this. I don't even think I can look at him in the face anymore. I'm so disgusted.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that was Mo. I don't think it was intentional, and that's not because I'm a very trustworthy of a cat named Mo. I'm not. But I think that this was unintentional. I think he's just an oblivious man when it comes to a lot of things. He's not. I wouldn't. When I think of Mo, one of the first things I think of is probably not considerate. Like that's not a word that comes to mind. No. So he probably didn't even think to check. And honestly, like neither would I guess. But I would feel if something like that came out of my mouth. So
yes. Yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings on this too. I mean, there has been issues. It's been much better where I was like cleaning up. He would just leave cups and garbage, and I would just have to. And it's not that big of a deal. You just take it and throw it in the garbage. But it got to a point where like I'm not your maid. Like you're an adult. This is a shared space. Like you should be cleaning up after yourself. That's what adults do. What normal human beings do. And it was much better. But this is so much worse. I would much rather have a half-drank coffee that I have to throw away as opposed to some lung butter just top of a disgusting. People put their mouths.
Yeah, I mean it's gross that you even share mics at all.
Yeah,
but the fact that you do, you'd think you'd wipe it down before and after. But again, not everyone is considerate like us.
There is the thought of okay, I don't wipe it after, but I do wipe before. And was this just a thing where you could just take care of it real quick before? I don't know. This is another, this is another level as far as cleanliness goes and your responsibility. Because usually you just wipe it, before to make sure it's nice and clean. And I think probably it makes more sense to wipe it down after. I just don't have any trust in anybody there that they are going to do that. So I make sure I wipe it down before.
You can give it a wipe down sandwich, before you start and then after you're done.
How do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel about the idea of, I just forgot what I was going to say. Just popped right out. Anyway, not important. 813-693-2124, hmbradio.com. I remember that we're losing some of our natural immunity due to being so our cleanliness, like wiping everything down.
I mean, I certainly think that that contributes to our lack of immunity, because you have to expose, especially kids, to germs and stuff for them to be immune. And it actually it's the best way you can boost your immune system is to expose yourself to a bunch of stuff. But I also feel kind of like a hypocrite saying that, because I'm very OCD about germs and germophobic stuff, but also selectively so because I also do jujitsu, which is the most disgusting sport on the planet, where you're basically just like drooling into each other's mouths and breathing into each other's faces. So I've had crotch and face. I've had I've smelled stinky vagina before. I've had people touch their mouth guards and they have saliva, and then they give you a wet willy by accident. I mean, I've pretty much had it all. So it's kind of bizarre that I'm not that I'm unmoved by that, but you just kind of understand that that's part of the sport and you deal with it.
Have you ever tried to, wipe down the mat or something, like tried to wipe down one of your opponent's crotches because of the odor?
No. I just make mental note and I never work with them again. It's only happened to me one time where it was a stank pee. It was super stank.
Was it like, what was can you describe the smell?
Well, I think it's pretty much what people say when it smells bad, like bad fish.
Okay.
Very fishy smell. Now, to be fair, it was an evening class and it was a no gi. So the gi kind of helps like trap odor sometimes.
Right.
And we happened to be doing triangle chokes. If you're familiar with a triangle choke, you are trapped like a triangle. You're triangling yourself between your legs, between someone else's legs. So I was working with this girl and I kind of, we're doing the technique and I give her my arm and my face and she basically wraps her legs around me. So my schnoz is right in her crotch area. And I was like, whoa. And it was so bad that I went back to smell it again. I'm like, that can't be right.
Afterwards, you try to make an excuse, just like dropping your phone.
And you do it, you do the technique once, and then I was like, God. And I was like, do you want to try it again? Like I was contributing to my own abuse or something. It was strange.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, do it again. So she did it again so I could get a second whiff.
Was there any obligation that you felt to notify her about the...
Oh, none whatsoever.
None. Would you want somebody to tell you if you were in that scenario?
No.
Really?
Yeah. No. I mean, unless it's a good... I can't even imagine a good friend telling me that and how they would convey that my pee-pee smells like doo-doo. I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's just more comfortable for everybody if you just shut the hell up. So that's what I did. But then I talked about it on the air the next day, of course. No names or anything. But
I think you're at a unique position there with the sport that you do, that you would get close. I mean, typically this is a question for like, do boyfriends or girlfriends let their girls know if there's something unpleasant going on down there? And this kind of allows you to have a unique perspective, figuratively and literally, where you can kind of be down there sometimes to, notice something.
To be fair, usually before you have sexy time, at least how we like to do it is, you're freshly showered, you're clean. But when you've just spent an hour and a half rolling around and it's the end of the day and you think to yourself, I'll shower when I get home, I'm not catching you at your freshest. So I also keep that in mind as well. That's probably not how she rolls around, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's that bad where it's I mean, I think you could tell the difference between something's going on there that's unhealthy and like you just have like a sweaty region. You know?
It was beyond just regular BO, just kind of like musky. It was like, it was sour.
Yeah.
It was super sour. And I was like,
I mean, there is something that like pheromones and stuff. Like sometimes I think that there's something to be said for that. One man's trash
we'll talk about that.
Treasure.
Science is still out on pheromones with humans. We don't have a great sense of smell. So it's all like, ooh, you can smell. I don't know.
Yeah, but isn't there something where your bodies kind of sync up too? Like you can be together for a while and then it's like, oh, this doesn't seem right. And then like something kind of.
There's been studies where men sweat into shirts and then women smell them, and the ones who have the most like different immune system to themselves they find most attractive. I mean, I don't know.
Is it be the same with ladies, pockets down there? Is it possible?
Possibly. I honestly, again, I have the evidence is really shoddy when it comes to pheromones and humans because again, like we don't have a great sense of smell as a species. We're not dogs. Dogs, I think, have like what 1,000x, like 100x smelling capacity of human beings. So, and then the fact that you can like decipher and it's like sending signals to your brain about their immunity. It's like, I don't know. A lot of it seems kind of like pseudoscience stuff. But again, I don't do the research. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I remember being in grad school and they're like, this is very shoddy with pheromones in humans. It does exist with other animals for sure. Dogs and stuff, they're sniffing their butts. But
right.
Yeah. And a lot of the smells that we smell are like not natural, fragrances or body washes and stuff like that. So it's rare that you even smell like a normal human body and get close enough to smell. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it just depends on like what you eat can affect that too. I remember one time I was super hungover. I went to Shepherd's on Clearwater Beach. It was the most hungover I've ever been in my entire life. I went with my cousin, had a great time. It was a really fun night. And then I woke up just super, super hungover. And I must have maybe got pizza or something. I don't remember eating that, but I must have. And I had to go help. My stepdad had a window and door company at that point. So, and then this guy that working for him needed help, just needed some muscle. And it was tough. And I got out there and he noticed, he goes, "You smell like a garlic knot." And it was like seeping through my body. I don't remember eating. I must have ate pizza or something, but I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And I was just like at the beach all day. I don't think I definitely didn't shower. I just like got home and then laid down until, I got woken up at 1 p.m. Help this guy. Oh my God. It was so brutal. But I mean, I guess it can seep through your pores. I'm sure it can, seep out of other areas too, depending on your anatomy. Again, not positive about that, but it seems rational. 813-693-2124 is the voice and text line. This is episode 500 of the homemade broadcast, which is crazy. I can't believe it. WillsYouTube.com is where you're watching right now. We're also on Radio St. Pete, 96.7 FM. If you're in downtown St. Petersburg, RadioSt.Pete.com. And you can follow me on social, home_made_man. How was your Thanksgiving? Or not Thanksgiving, Halloween?
Oh, I did jujitsu.
Any here at your house?
No, I went to a jujitsu class because I knew that a lot of people were not going to be there. So I was like, let's go to class because a lot of times there's like 40 people in there. It's just a mess. So I knew that all the people who love their children, because there's a lot of parents, wouldn't be there. And to my surprise, there were some parents of young children that were there. And I'm like, you're a bad mom. But, didn't say that out loud.
And, was it the one with the stinky downstairs? That was the bad mom? No. Okay.
No. The one that was there was problematic for other reasons, which I actually described earlier on the show today. But they're just like rough for no, like I don't think you can see a bruise. Well, I got a few bruises everywhere.
Oh, she just knocked you around a little bit.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you're just practicing a technique. So you're supposed to do it slow, and I'm supposed to give you enough resistance to where I'm not a dead fish.
Right.
And then people take advantage of that as if like they're getting one on you. It's like, no, we're walking through a movement, learning how to do it. And so there's this move, for example, called neon belly. I think it's pretty explanatory of what it is. Now, if anyone is putting all of their weight with their knee on your belly, if you are like tight and ready for it, it's still very uncomfortable, but it's manageable. But when you're not ready for it and you have a soft belly and they do that, that's very, very annoying and rude. So that's the kind of stuff that I was dealing with yesterday, where it was like I was giving no resistance and then I was getting all of the force. And I'm like, and she just kept saying like, "Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry." It's like, I wouldn't say anything. I would just look at her like this.
Was she brand new?
No. She's been doing it as long as I have, pretty much.
So you didn't do any sort of trick-or-treating Halloween activities at your home?
When I did get home, Chris, the boyfriend, I think there was like one pair of trick-or-treaters left. And I asked him, like, how many people came by? He's like 20 to 25, like all night long.
I saw a couple kids in costume walking down MLK at about 10 o'clock at night. And I saw none in my neighborhood. You know, it gets dark super early now, so I didn't really notice anybody in my neighborhood. The past few years, we haven't gotten any.
It's about to get dark really early on Sunday.
Oh, is that when it changes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that stinks. I'm not looking forward to that at all. I hate that. I thought they passed the law, the Sunshine Law, that they weren't gonna do it anymore.
Is it not till like 2026? I don't know. I remember that too. It was gonna be Florida Standard Time or like Florida time or something, whatever, you know, for 4 months. But no, on November 5th, I can't remember if it starts or if it ends. It starts.
Yeah, daylight saving.
It starts. It's only 4 months long, and it's a pain in the ass. And yeah, it's gonna get dark at like 5:30. So I don't know.
The worst. There was a shooting over in Ybor City. Did you hear about? I'm sure you heard about it, obviously. But
I got some intel on that. So
do share.
Well, do you want to like talk about it first, and then?
Well, I could tell you I mean, I think it's kind of old news now about the actual shooting itself, but there is some fallout as far as what the repercussions of it will be. They caught one young man, who decided to open fire in the streets of Ybor on a weekend before Halloween. And I think they're looking for a few more, is my understanding. And today, a city council person calls for Ybor businesses to temporarily close early at 1 a.m. Because of this shooting.
I heard a lot more people died.
What do you mean?
So it's so funny that we're talking about this.
2 people. It says killed 2 people and wounded 16 others over the weekend. Are you saying that the news is not reporting all the deaths?
I'm just saying I got sources. So I took a jiu-jitsu class about 5 hours ago. And when I was done with the class, I was talking to one of the guys that worked there, and he was saying that he worked security in Ybor. And I'm like, were you there that night? You know, we started talking about the shooting. He's like, oh yeah, he was at Prana. He's working security at Prana. And he's like, yeah. He's like, you know how they said 2 people died and 18 people were shot? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's not true. He's like, 7 people died and 30 people were shot. And I went, word? And he goes, yeah. And I go, I said the dumbest thing that I probably have ever said, but I was just so confused in the moment. I'm like, why would the media lie? Like, that's what I said. Yeah. But I was like, in what direction? Like, what is the motive? And he said it was money because they didn't want to mess with the money. I'm like, but still, like, there's been a shooting. If anyone dies, it kind of freaks everybody out. But I said, well, how do you know the truth? Because he was there that night, and he goes, he talked to the cops, and he was there, and he said he saw at least 3 dead bodies. Like, he was in the club closing the doors. He said people were leaving the club, and then the shooting happened, and he said that he had to lock the doors because people kept trying to rush in, and he didn't know if one of those people were the shooter. So people were like screaming to like, let us in, and he's like, no, just lock the doors on him. Which, you know, he's like, I'm not trying to be cruel, but I need to protect the people, like the workers in the club. There were still people in the club. He doesn't want to like let people in, and it could be one of them be the shooter. So he just had to lock everybody out. But he said 7 people died. He talked to the cops.
So, you know, sometimes when things happen, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of uncertainty about what's going on at that time. And sometimes information gets released that needs to be corrected because it was erroneous at the time, and they have more information and those numbers were corrected. And maybe it was just because it was right when it was happening. They weren't sure. And, you know, there's a new number out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like, could that be it?
I don't know, but it seems like there were like, he said he saw a dead girl in the street, and that was never reported. It was like a 14-year-old boy and a 20-year-old male. So he was like, they're purposely not reporting certain things to make it seem not as bad. It was just so weird because usually when it comes to gun violence, they make it seem worse than it is.
It just seems like that would be a hard thing, the girl's parents.
That's what I said. I'm like, aren't her family members like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I feel like they would. I don't know, Anna. I wouldn't trust that guy. I mean, especially when you're not at full capacity, when you're in that panic mode where that adrenaline is going through you and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Like, I don't think you're as receptive to information. And I just feel like, with initial.
Well, I mean, this isn't just like he worked last night at Halloween and was talking to cops, and they were saying then. First off, he was shocked that people were still out and about in Ybor on Halloween night, 2 days after the shooting. And then he said he was talking to cops, and they were saying that there were 7 dead bodies and 30 people were shot. So this isn't just like in the moment. This is like afterwards. But again, I don't know. That's just what I was told. So
yeah, I mean, that would be so easy to leak that information to the press or somebody, unless they're just intentionally not reporting. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but it doesn't seem, I don't know, plausible. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't know. But anyway, so some of the fallout here from this is that this city council woman is saying that you need to close at 1 a.m. as opposed to, what is Ybor open until 3?
He said 3:30 everything shuts down, I think.
Yeah, and you get 2 more hours of drinking. She's saying that if you just had 2 less hours of booze, this wouldn't have happened. It's essentially what she's saying. I believe this is was that the lady there? I don't know. The blonde lady. It looked like she was in a very nice home. Maybe frequented Ybor City back in her heyday, but definitely not in a while. So I guess you could make the argument that this wouldn't have happened if bars closed at 1 a.m., but I don't think it's totally rational that it wouldn't either.
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on closing early at 1 a.m.?
I don't know if that's really going to help. I mean, there's bad characters. I mean, did you read the details of like how this all started?
No, I don't even know anything.
It's one of those like, so the guy that's in the news, like the guy with the poofy hair, apparently he was walking and he saw a girl that he knew from middle school, so he waved at her, and she was surrounded by a bunch of guys who thought that was threatening, and so they went up to him, and I think one of them was a 14-year-old boy, and who was strapped, had a gun on him. The 14-year-old shows he has the gun, puts his shirt down, and spits on the guy who waved. So the guy was like thinking that, or maybe he spit first and then showed the gun, and the guy just reaction, boom, started shooting.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, especially at 14 years old. Why is a 14-year-old patrolling around Ybor City at 3:00 in the morning? That's a whole other thing. I did see, you hate to,
profile.
A 14-year-old kid just died, and it's terrible. But they did a interview with his father. His father spoke, and of course did the whole thing where he was a good kid. Here's that.
Nothing I can do but stand behind the yellow tape and just watch them take his body away. I can't go see him. This is my last time seeing him. It's hard.
Of course, said he was a good kid and just hung around with a bad crowd. But you just lost a son, so you don't want to be too critical. But where were you, dude?
I thought he was downtown.
I mean, but this is his father here.
I know. I think his dad was also downtown. I think I don't quote me on that, but I was under the impression that his dad was also in Ybor.
Okay.
Like drunk or I don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
Well, it's a tragedy. It certainly is a tragedy. I don't think closing the bars at 1 a.m. is going to help. But you know what? At this point, let's give it a whirl. Why not? I think they should just, bar off, put a big fence, build the wall, if you will, around Ybor City, and trap everybody who wants to be there inside. Much like, like a Gaza situation, an open air prison, where we can kind of do one of those things where we kind of just ship in the things that they need, firearms, drugs, and alcohol. And then it can just be like a nice West Bank, Gaza area for certain folks who want to be in Ybor. Who wants to be in Ybor? I didn't go to Ybor when it was time to go to Ybor. Like when in my 20s, I never wanted to do that. It sounded terrible. So I don't get it. I don't get that whole thing. Downtown St. Pete's the same way now. Frankly, I went down there not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, it's time to go home now. This sucks. So I don't know. It is a tragedy, and it seems like more and more of this stuff is happening, and it's probably only going to get worse. I did see, not that this is a explicit terrorism incident, although you can make the argument that it was. The FBI just came out and said that they expect more terror attacks in the next little while.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Especially on Jews.
Yeah. Anti-Semitism at an all-time high now. People talk about banning TikTok now because it's leading people to support Hamas algorithms. So now they're behind it, I guess. So strange. It's such a strange time. And I did see that somebody stabbed a bunch of kids at a high school in California a little while ago. Stabbing seems like it might be. I'm be interested to find out their name. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
It's a
I second that.
certain folk that tends to do the stabbings. At least if you look at Europe and the United Kingdom and England, etc. But anyway, the weeds there. So that's sad. And Halloween it came and it went, and we send it off, and now it's Christmas time. All the girls on Instagram are posting about Christmas now. Are you excited about Christmas?
Oh yeah, I love Christmas, and I also love Thanksgiving.
Yes,
yeah. I've already started to correspond with some people about plans, people that maybe
Oh,
so
phenomenal.
Yes, I realized this, and I told the boyfriend this. He initially wanted to go away for the weekend or do something, and I was very resistant to it. And he was like, why? And I'm like, I have zero traditions. Like, I don't have any family. I mean, I have my dad's first cousin that I see periodically. I saw him on Sunday. I don't have like immediate family here. I don't have any traditions I do. Thanksgiving is the one tradition I have in my life. And I'm holding on to that with both hands, white knuckling it. Because the boyfriend was like, why, like, who cares? I'm like, no, I need to do this. I want to have at least one tradition in my life, or it's something that I expect every year and I look forward to every year. So yeah, my time when we do it at Johnny and Leah's house, that's really special to me. So
really good food too.
Yeah, it's fantastic food, good company, fun times. Like there's such incredible chefs, cooks, whatever. Really, like they experiment with cool stuff, and it always turns out delicious. So I'm very excited, and I love that dearly, because I feel like I can try to talk myself out of like, oh, I don't need religion, and I don't really need like my family here with me, but like I do, like I need to feel a part of a community or a part of something especially where it's like a family thing, so feels like family.
That's what it's about. So that's good. Well, I hope to see you there. I'm sure I will. That's the next big holiday to get ready for. And then, we're heading into the 2023 on its way out, man. November 1st day when we're recording this. It's kind of scary to think about. It kind of makes me sick to my stomach, but, things are happening and you can't stop progress. That's what I always say. And I guess we'll leave episode 500, Anna. Thanks for being here in this. I know you kind of had to throw something together today, and I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah.
It's always nice to speak with you.
I appreciate you appreciating me.
And we'll talk soon.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
There she goes. Live tonight, the Johnny B Show from 10 to midnight on 102.5 The Bone, theboneonline.com with myself and Johnny B. That'll be fun. I hope you'll join us after that. Neil says, congrats on 500 episodes. Thank you. It's been a long ride. Still kicking, man, for the time being. However long it lasts, we will see. Hopefully another 500, I hope. And thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. HMBradio.com, willsyoutube.com, HMB Radio on your podcast app. I'm trying to do videos when the Lightning are playing and we're not on the air. So, subscribe, give it, thumbs up, leave comments, that type of stuff. It really does help out, believe it or not. And thank you. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. Bye.